People who speak a second language, what have you overheard people saying about you when they thought you couldn't understand them? We lived in Spain. I was in line to pay my electric bill when a woman began complaining about me being in line. She thought I should be at the end of the line or something. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she was not a fan of me or Americans in general. At one point, she was pointing at me and she jabbed me with her finger. I gave her a look but didn't say anything. When it was my turn in line, I paid my bill, got my receipt, turned to the women in line behind me and said, "I hope you all have a blessed day, except for this rude one." And I pointed at Senora Jabby Finger. Oh my gosh, her eyes got so big. She was shocked and embarrassed, and I kind of feel bad about shaming her. But you really shouldn't assume people don't know what you are saying when you are talking about them right in front of them, no matter what language you are speaking. My Spanish is passable. I heard a little old lady saying how cute I was to her younger female companion. I assume it was her daughter. She was trying to get her to talk to me. I looked right at her and held up my hand with my wedding ring. The daughter got beet red and Granny started laughing. Grandma is all, "He is cute and he understands Spanish. Of course he is taken." I was flattered. I love that there are people in the US that think Spanish can be a secret language. There are a lot of us that have had to learn. The people at the Chinese food place on my campus spoke Chinese to the door exchange students. But even though I spoke Chinese, I just always spoke English to them since I have an accent when I speak Chinese. But one day I got all meat, no rice, since I had a rice maker at home. And when I was paying, the lady says to the person beside her, "Fat ass wants meat, no rice." And I responded in Chinese, "Actually, I have rice at home." They didn't charge me for the order and started giving me a bit extra whenever I go there. When I started working at McDonald's at 16, none of the other employees realized I could speak a fair amount of Spanish. A few of my co-workers would talk crap about me in Spanish, and I pretended for a few weeks that I didn't know what they were saying. Then one day, a manager told me she was worth me than me because she was bilingual. So I told her, in Spanish, that I was actually trilingual. The looks on their faces when they realized I spoke Spanish all along was priceless. I'm Swiss and Peruvian and live in Peru, so I don't look at all like a Swiss guy. There were two Swiss girls sitting behind me on a bus talking about Latino guys. Then one of them asked the other if she found me attractive. I turned around and said that I would love to know that too. The look of confusion and shame was priceless. Then we just all laughed. Now I've got two new friends. Said something like, "You need to be careful when talking shit about someone in your native language. There might always be someone who understands you in German while I was in Italy." A woman who was walking by responded, "Like me, for example." And I went to Sri Lanka for 2 weeks to see where my mom grew up and general beach stuff. For some reason, we were like the only people in the hotel we were staying at, aside from a wedding party that left a day after we got there. A few days in there was another family staying there, I believe from Suriname, and we were all chilling at the pool and decided to play a game of water polo against each other. Things got exciting, and one of the daughters yelled out something in Dutch like, "Go for the big fat guy." My Dutch dad replied, "What big fat guy?" And everybody laughed. Just a simple story, but it was pretty sweet. Not me, but my stepmother. She grew up in Japan and speaks fluent Japanese. She looks Italian and white. She has an olive skin tone, and since she is only a quarter Japanese, she doesn't look like she is from any East Asian-speaking country. One day, her and some friends went to get their nails, both hands and feet, done at a salon for some girl time. The ladies who were doing the work were speaking fluent Japanese and were mostly gossiping about men and other things until they got to the feet part of said procedure. My stepmother's friend is a little overweight, and she doesn't have runway model style of feet. Well, the ladies who work at the salon are just starting to make fun of her in Japanese, laughing and giggling, enjoying themselves in someone else's misfortune and looks. My stepmother said she let this go on for too long. It was about 5 minutes of them talking shit before my stepmother replied, in Japanese. Her comment to them, "I didn't realize that we needed to look like princesses to get service here," something along those lines. The ladies stopped and looked at my stepmother with extreme guilt. They apologized in English and were silent the remainder of the time my stepmother and her friends were there. We had a large family reunion dinner at a restaurant and we were all sharing stories. My funny uncle was telling us how he used to pretend he was deaf and his sister would translate. To prove it, he asked the waitress to get the manager. When he came over, my uncle started signing to him with made-up and exaggerated gestures. My aunt told him that the food was good and the server was excellent. All the while, the manager just smiled and nodded. When they were done talking, the manager said in sign language he spoke ASL and knew it was bullshit. We blew up laughing and my uncle's face turned beet red. I have a reverse story. Deep in the night, I leave work, small road on a small city in rural China, so no public lighting. I go by the side of the road until a taxi comes by. Finally find one. We spend the next 15 minutes speaking about all and nothing, weather, road repairs, and so on. We arrive at my residence. The driver opened the front light to help count the cash. Blood-curdling scream. The driver start, "You're not Chinese." Me, "Not last time I checked." Nota, I am not the scary type, 75-kilogram white nerd wearing pants and dress shirt. Was in Germany, and a middle school teacher asked me to come in as a guest for one of her English classes. The teacher introduced me, I said hello, and that I was from the US and happy to be in their class. The teacher said, "So, do you have any questions in English for an American? What do you think an American is like?" One of the kids near the front says in German, kind of under his breath, but definitely loud enough that most of the class can hear, "Fat and stupid." The kids laugh. The teacher turns bright red. I don't know what to do, so I just say, "Of course, many Americans can speak German in German." The kid almost shit himself. He looked like a baby deer that had wandered on stage at a Beyoncé concert. I thought he was just being a dick and had intended me to understand what he was saying. Apparently, though, he actually hadn't thought through that an American in Germany in their language class might actually speak their language. So I don't speak Spanish fluently, but I understand it just fine. I used to sell cars in Houston, and as you can imagine, we had a lot of bilingual Spanish speakers come to buy cars from us. They never asked if my super clean-cut white guy self spoke Spanish, so I never told them I did. It was fun to have a couple that would speak English to me and Spanish to each other. They would literally tell each other everything, like how much they wanted to pay and their negotiating tactics. They would say things like, "If he offers to take $500 off, let's do it, but I'm going to ask for $1,000. So once they said yes, inevitably one would ask the other a product question in Spanish, and I'd jump in and answer in English. The looks on their faces when they have that aha moment were priceless. Edit. Side note, I used my powers for good too. Like me, only the other way around, many Spanish speakers understand English just fine but don't speak it well. I've done entire car deals where I spoke English and they spoke Spanish with no issues, and they became happy customers. RIP my inbox. In the comments below the video, you can tell us if you've had any funny experiences where someone didn't expect you to understand their language. And don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.